Hi guys, Sophie here, and today I am going to give you some tips on how to deal with stress, anxiety, and how to get a little bit more joy into your life. Alright, so let's get started with this. Now, I don't know about you, but in this day and age, everybody that I know is stressed out. We're busy, we're rushing from A to B, we're multitasking, and I think what's made the whole thing much worse is that we're just constantly connected to our phones. And as much as that there are so many incredible pluses with that, and I'm the first one, I love my phone, it's like, you know, become a part of my body. I've realized that it's really, really important to put it down, because I lose something. I lose a huge, huge connection to life and to myself and to spirit and to all the most important things, actually, when I'm just in my phone and just connecting to that. So I'm going to ask you straight off the bat, and you can answer this if you want underneath this video. You know, do you feel stressed out a lot of the time? Do you feel anxious? Do you have panic attacks? Do you feel like a sort of low-grade depression? I'm not talking about major depression here, because obviously I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but you know, sometimes if I just let this pressure get to me and pile on and on and on, I can just sort of go into shutdown mode, where I just feel just kind of vaguely depressed, like I can't get a handle on things. And that's when I'm really in overwhelm and I'm really burned out. And actually, one of my favorite doctors, she's a holistic physician, and she said to me actually years ago, she said, Sophie, you know, think of stress and your health like a swimming pool, that you've got to just, you know, you've just got to keep, the water's got to be topped up all the time, you know, so that it's still and usable and does what it should. And with stress, you know, that water begins to evaporate, and it gets less and less and less until eventually there's no water left. It's just dry. And that really truly is what stress, constant stress, does to our health. You know, eventually it begins to break down. It's called adrenal fatigue, and it's all those hormones rushing through your body all the time, and you know, to a certain extent, and then living on coffee and fumes basically. And to a certain extent, when you're younger, your body can kind of deal with that, but then something will just break and you'll feel it in your body, and it'll be your immune system, or you'll suddenly have a lot of inflammation in your body. It'll be your digestive system, or you may get migraines, and it'll show up physically in some way. And then obviously the effects long term are really what you don't want. So what I want to give you today is just a few tips that I found to be pretty life-changing in terms of dealing with stress and anxiety, and primarily just bringing more joy into my life. The most powerful way that I found to deal with stress and anxiety is to find a way of becoming present. And that means that I have to switch off my phone. I have to turn off my computer, or slap the lid shut, turn off the TV, and find a way of find something to do that is going to take me out of this buzzing headspace of thoughts, and slow down enough that I can actually see, feel, smell, experience what's around me, but find a sort of degree of peace. And that's the only way I can do it. So the first tip is meditation. And if you don't meditate already, I really strongly recommend that you start a practice. Now, this doesn't have to be a great big deal. You don't have to go to an ashram. You don't have to find a guru. You don't have to do any kind of crazy big thing. You can start now, today. There is an app, and I'm going to put the link underneath this video. You check in what's going on, how you're feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and then it'll give you a number of different meditations to choose from. And you can even choose the amount of time. So you can go, I have 5 minutes, or I want to do a 20-minute, or I want to do a 30-minute. Genius, right? Because sometimes all you've got is 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is enough. If you're a newbie to meditation, please, I beg you, just start with 5 minutes a day, because that will begin to change your life. I'm actually sitting on my favorite ever meditation cushion. It's so beautiful, this cushion. It's stuffed with something called K-pop. I'll put the link to it underneath the video as well. But it's stuffed with K-pop, which is a really eco-friendly material. And I love having a meditation cushion, because just seeing it in my home, and these are beautiful enough, these ones, that if you can have them lying around like little scatter cushions, but if I see it and I haven't done my meditation, it reminds me, it's like, oh, there we go, I went a day without doing it. 5 minutes, that's all it takes. Now, 2 more important tips. The next one is, let's go to this one. This is one that I love. So, this is something that I'm quite excited about, is reading, but reading in a certain way. I used to be a very voracious reader, and I was a very big reader since I was a little girl. I think when I was like 8, I used to read huge, big, long, kind of adult. I remember reading Gone with the Wind when I was 8 years old. So that's how, and luckily I was raised to have a lot of quiet time. It just was. We didn't obviously have phones, and the TV wasn't on all the time in our house. We lived in the countryside, so if I hadn't have found books and writing, I would have got really bored, so it encouraged me to be creative. But anyway, what I do want to say is that I, up until recently, had really kind of lost the passion for reading real books. I think I had so many, or I have so many on my iPad, so many samples and gazillion books. And when I get into bed at the end of the day, I actually don't want to look at another screen. My eyes are so tired from looking at a screen all day that I've realized that what I need is a book, an actual copy, paper book. And there's a scientific reason why this is really important as well, and it's because the pineal gland is the gland that affects our sleep patterns. And there's a lot of research been done that when we look at something with a screen, a backlit screen, it affects this gland, and basically it basically keeps us awake because it's tricking us into thinking that it's still daylight, and so it's not natural. And really, as the night closes down, or if you're trying to relax, you want to not have a screen with backlighting, basically, simply. And I'm actually trying to teach this to my daughter, who's 14, and she has great trouble going to sleep, and I'm quite convinced that's why, because she does her homework till very late, but she's looking at a screen. So anyway, this is my big inspiration that I wanted to get to. So I wanted to get a book, and I thought, but there aren't many bookstores now, as we all know. They've sadly all closed down. And so I thought, but I want a book. And then this thing came across my radar, which is called Book of the Month. And this is why I'm extremely passionate, and I wanted to share it with you, is that with Book of the Month, and I'm going to put the links for this underneath the video, each month you will get recommended 5 books. Okay, now this is recommended by a panel of editors and experts, and then they have one guest come in, a special guest every month. So you have this panel of sort of literary people who've got amazing taste, who will recommend their 5 top books titles, and then you get to pick one of those a month, and you get a beautiful hard copy, and it's really good value. I'll put all the details underneath the video. And by the way, if you use the code SPRING15, they're giving me, because I connected with them, 50% off your first 3-month membership. So you'll basically it works out that you'll get a beautiful hard cover book for about $7.99, which is pretty amazing value. So I wanted to give you an example of what I got in. The selection is this particular month. and there's one missing from this, but I've got these and I want to show you. One is called No One Knows by J.T. Ellison, and I dipped into this last night and I'm already completely, I'm just like, I need to just devour the whole thing now, and I'm saving it. I'm going to bar myself from reading it because I'm going on vacation next week, and that's going to be my vacation book. The Nest, which is a really interesting one. Flight of Dreams, which looks fascinating. It's sort of historical. And then there is a memoir, Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy, which is about the mother of one of the Columbine shooters. So each month you get like 5 completely different. You get historical, thriller, memoir, blah, blah, blah. And this is magical for me because it takes the thinking out of it for me. It's like a dream come true, because otherwise I'm always asking friends what they recommend, and then I think, do I really have the same taste as them? And I've had some really bad recommendations, I've had some good ones, but this is great because it's just like, here you go, Sophie, here are 5, choose one of them, or you can choose more if you want. And actually, I'm loving this so much I probably will end up choosing more of them. And it will get sent to you, and it's a lovely hard copy, so you can give hardcover, so you can give it away as a gift. So anyway, In Love, book of the month. That for me is a big stress relief, and brings more joy into my life, because it's not just in the evening. In the middle of the day, I can come in here into my lovely little cozy nook, my guest room, and kick back and make myself a little cup of green tea and read 2 or 3 chapters of a book. And that makes, having given myself that rest and self-care and relaxation, I am so much the better for it. I'm so much a better person for the rest of the day, truly. Something we've forgotten to do, right? And my final tip is essential oils. Now, essential oils I find to be very, very powerful in stress relief and for dealing and combating anxiety. So there's 2 different things I want to show you here. Again, links for all these underneath the video. So I have 3 oils. These oils are from Mountain Rose Herbs, which is where I get most of my oils from. Really reputable, sustainable, organic oils, and huge inventory and reasonably priced. And the 3 oils that I recommend you always have in your home for stress, anxiety, and for skincare recipes as well is lavender, your go-to for stress, and many other uses. Geranium, which is the oil that I always use when I'm feeling a little bit down in the dumps or a little bit just overwhelmed, because it's very uplifting. It's a beautiful oil. And then the final one is frankincense, because frankincense is very grounding. And so for me, I can get a little bit kind of crazy, a little all over the place, so I need an oil that's really going to ground me. And you can actually use these separately, or you can blend them together. And how I use them is I'll put a little bit in a handkerchief or a tissue sometimes and just inhale it in, or you might dilute a little bit in a carrier oil, or you can use it in a diffuser. I diffuse oils all the time. I'll actually put a link to a good diffuser underneath the video as well, because I know some of you are going to ask me. And then finally, there's this oil, which I haven't talked about for so long, but it's actually one that I co-created with this amazing company called Uma Oils, and it's called the Gorgeous for Good oil, and I created it to go with the launch of my new book, when my book was a new book, which was back last year, Gorgeous for Good, which is a 30-day program to looking great inside and out. And I found this Shrankla, she's called, who owns this company, and she has these big organic estates in India where they distill all their own oils, and they really truly are the finest blends that I've ever smelled in my life. So I begged her to create a blend for me, and I said to her what I wanted, which is that I wanted one that was very uplifting and soothing, and I wanted a lot of things. I wanted uplifting, centering, soothing, and inspirational, because I wanted to use the oil when I sat down to meditate on my little cushion. And so we went back and forth hundreds of times, and then we came up with this oil, which I wish this was smell-o-vision, because if you could smell this right now, I put a few drops in my hand, I rub my hands together, and then I put a little bit behind my ears, and then I breathe in. Immediately, it's just soothing, it's relaxing. I just feel, it just is amazing. So link for that underneath the video too. Now please guys, because I love your comments, I love your questions, I love your suggestions for other videos. I feel like I'm getting to know you guys now. So please keep those coming. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel, because then you're going to see all my DIY videos, and I've got a lot more DIYs, skincare videos in the works, and just all the other good stuff that I am trying to get to you every single week. So I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day.